So we all love Skylanders, but I bet you would be shocked how many of your favorite Skylanders used to look completely different. Basically, a bunch of basically concept arts and prototype figures of Skylanders have just recently surfaced that I've never seen before, and I'm assuming a lot of you guys have not ever seen either. So I want to do this video basically to showcase them, and you guys get to see what your favorite Skylanders originally looked like. Some of them are like wildly different. It's basically, other than some very basic theming, they look like completely different Skylanders. Today I'm only even going over Superchargers and SWAT Force, as those were the only ones that were pretty much released to the public recently, and I'm only even going over these Skylanders. I'm not going to be doing levels, villains, or NPCs or anything like that in this video. If you guys like this video and you want me to do that, then that's definitely something that I will do in the future if you guys like to see that, but for now we're just doing the Skylanders, so let's hop right into it. I'm going to be going no face cam for this one just because I think it takes away from what you guys are actually seeing on the screen, kind of blocks out some of it. But to start with, this is the art for Superchargers, the original concept art, and this looks much more accurate to the actual sort of basic Skylanders font. Superchargers is kind of what changed it. With Superchargers and Imaginators, the logos looked very different, but what's obvious here is you see Magna Charge up here flying in a vehicle and Free Ranger right here in a vehicle. Now this could have meant a couple of things. This is pretty much either like swappers were going to come back and get reposed, or they were just going to be bringing back old gimmick Skylanders and giving them vehicles. I'm not totally sure. Also, Trigger Happy looks completely different here. This almost looks like some sort of magic vehicle, and I can't really tell what's going on back here. Maybe if we saw some of that, I'd be able to tell more, but I really can't from just this picture. Now, first one up is going to be Astro Blast. He honestly doesn't look that different here. These concepts are very strange. I'm not really sure what's going on there. Now, next, this is... not actually sure what this is. This is more Astro Blast? I can't really tell. This is some concept for something. I think this is Astro Blast because it says right here something about the light element, but none of this looks anything like Astro Blast. Like, this thing looks so goofy. I'm not totally sure. Now, here is the final version of Astro Blast that we obviously got. This is also a cool sort of image that gives a very detailed like look at all the textures and stuff on him. Now, there's the Sunrunner. Also, if you're interested, I don't really care too much about the vehicles. Now, here is a big bubble pop fizz. Now this looks pretty similar obviously, and so does this. These are very different. This, he looks much more like a scientist. This is like some scientist gone wild. He didn't really have any of his music theming. This is really cool. This is like him basically just like blowing it out, and it's not really looking like any instrument or anything. Not too sure what's going on with any of this stuff up here, and this seems just more like detailed pictures of that. Not totally sure about that. And then here's sort of the final concept that they went with. Now, here is actually even more. Oh, here's that vehicle again. This vehicle actually looks pretty dang cool. And yeah, they were, oh, I guess this wasn't Trigger Happy's. This must have been Pop Fizz. I thought that was Trigger Happy though. So that's yeah, that's Pop Fizz's vehicle. And these are some more concepts. Some of these, like, that doesn't even look like him. That barely looks like him. So I'm not sure. I'm kind of happy with what we got. Bone Bash Rollerball is pretty cool. These I do not like that much. The thing is, I love this design so much that it's going to be hard for anything to look as cool. Like, this does not look as cool. This is not like as cool to me. The green coloration here looks kind of cool. This vehicle also looks really sick. This does not look good. It looks way too basic. And then obviously final design. This looks really cool. This looks a lot more pink than it does in person, I think. And then these are just some more like kind of basic drawings. Looking at this is more the Tomb Buggy and more of these final concepts. I believe this is the one that we got. None of these really look that accurate or as good. This looks kind of wild. This looks decent. I kind of like the one they went with overall. Now this one's really cool. This is Hammer Slam Bowser and the Clown Cruiser. Originally, this guy, Hammer Slam Bowser, was going to be a Koopa element, I believe. Now that's why you see like the turtle shells coming out of here. This looks really cool. I guess he was originally going to swing around a wrecking ball. I forget what they're called in Mario, but that looks really cool, and this design also does look really cool. Go down one more. This is another one they went with. This looks really cool. Like, he throws Koopas. These are some overall cool designs. He had less of a serious tone in a lot of his artwork, which is kind of something that I've noticed. And then Clown Cruiser looks pretty decent, I'd say, in this sort of concept form. And then obviously this is sort of what we ended up with. This looks kind of decent, but those look kind of too similar to Thor hammers maybe, so I'm not totally sure what happened there. And then these are just some figure concepts, I guess, that have different sort of hammers. I like the one they went with though. I think that one looks good. And then here's the Clown Cruiser and Dark Clown Cruiser, so nothing too special here. Next up is Dive Clops. I have seen this one before. Originally, he was going to have like a whole creature inside here, and then they later changed it to just one eye. But I think, yeah, he went through a lot of cool concepts. These are images that I think people have seen before. They look pretty decent. This, the fish inside looks decent. I think it would be kind of hard to mess up Diveclop's design. Just kind of goofy overall. You can't really mess it up. But the one they went with is pretty good overall. I like it. And the Dive Bomber, I mean, nothing too crazy, but I like it. Now we have Deep Dive Gilgrunt and the Reef Ripper. Now, this one, I'm not too sure about. Like, with Repos' characters like this, it's like they don't really change that much about the actual design. It's more like the outfit and stuff that they change. So you can see some of the concepts up here. They'll probably get explored more on this page. Yeah, there's some different designs they went for. This is like some weird like angler fish looking one. Not totally sure what I think about that. This one was kind of weird too. I like what they went with. This is like a pirate hat. There's a lot of weird stuff going on here. And they went out with a lot of different gun designs at first they want to test out, it looks like. Overall, yeah, I think I like what they went with the trident. I think it looks really cool. And then this, the Reef Ripper. I mean, a lot of these probably got implemented into the game as sort of like customization options, but overall, I think they did pretty decent with Gilgrunt. Now, Double-Edged Trigger Happy looks really cool. He does not. This sort of picture from him looks different than his final form. They never used any artwork that sort of looks like this. This one looks pretty weird. I mean, it's got some sort of like patriotic theming, it seems like, and this one's far more techy. Not too sure how I think about that. This looks crazy. I guess he was gonna originally have a mech, which would have been really cool, or that was gonna be his vehicle. Imagine a land vehicle like this. That would have been super cool. These designs are decent, nothing too special. I kind of like what they went with Double-Edged Trigger Happy, though. I think he has a pretty cool design. This is a pretty cool image. He looks weird with his eyes just being completely white out. That's a cool looking gun. That would have been pretty cool. And these are some decent vehicle options, I guess. I don't know. They're pretty similar. And I like the Gold Rusher. But look at all these crazy concepts. He was going to have like a full-on mech here. A full-on like horizontal mech. Not even sure what to call this. I don't even know what's going on with the... It's crazy. They had a lot of weird concepts with him. Now here's Donkey Kong. I believe he was going to be the banana element, so that's pretty cool. And originally he wasn't going to have all this sort of clothing they ended up giving him, so he had some more like savage looking concepts. Some of these figure poses are really cool. This one's really cool looking. I still think it would have been cool to get the banana and Koopa element, but kind of sucks that we didn't end up getting them. Obviously this final design, this doesn't even look like Donkey Kong, neither does this. I like they made his they finally made Donkey Kong look sort of a lot more similar to how he actually looks in Mario, so that's good with me. And then this is vehicle. I mean, nothing too crazy really happened here. Lava Lance Eruptor actually looks very different here. He looks like really young here, I guess. I don't really know how to explain that. And his helmet also looks different. It's more like rocky and less like just spiky lava. I guess they had some different Lance designs. This is, dude, yeah, he does look young here. He looks like young. He almost looks like Weeruptor, especially in this one here. This is vehicle. I mean, nothing too much changed. I guess they designed this guy around his vehicle a lot. Burn Cycle. This looks like Ghost Rider's vehicle. That looks really cool. Obviously, this is more of his final form here. And then this looks kind of cool with the minigun on the side, but nothing too crazy. Now, Fiesta, I believe he actually had some interesting stuff. This obviously looks very similar to how he actually ended up. This one looks really cool, though. Before he seemed a lot more spooky, and then look at this. Like, what even is this? This is like a crazy design. I've never seen anything like this for a Skylander. But I mean, that looks really cool. That's a really cool concept. Down here, we obviously get more similar to his final form, and then here's some vehicle designs. He had a lot of different. There are a lot of different concepts to the Curb Crusher, but I'm pretty happy with what we got. So, and then look at this, dude. This is crazy. Like, this is nothing like the Fiesta we got. This is like very scary. Look, I don't even know what to say about that. That looks very strange. Now, Jetvac, I mean, he's another repo, so not going to be anything too crazy. Just a lot of different clothing options. I'm not going to spend too much time on this guy. And then eventually we went this. I think it looks pretty good. Don't really have any complaints. And the Jetstream, I think is a, or not, is it the Jetstream? Yeah, it's the Jetstream. Jetstream does look really cool. They did have some different ideas for blasters, so some of these look pretty cool. Like this one right here is like a bird gun sort of thing. It actually looks pretty cool if you ask me. Now, High Volt, I do know that this guy was originally going to be a light element, and even on this, they used the light element on his base and stuff. I don't really know why. He definitely seems like he's kind of like a robot already. Like, I don't really know why he'd be light element, but I guess we'll see here. This is a very different design. I definitely like this more. This looks a lot more menacing, but this doesn't look bad. I guess he's a light bulb there, so that's kind of cool. Then this is, I guess, earlier, could have been a later design. It sort of goes with that one. Final design sort of thing going on here, and then here's the Shield Striker, which... Whoa, this is like a very like Neo version of it. This is almost more like a military looking thing. But I like what we got. What we got does look pretty dang cool. Now here's Nightfall. Nightfall looks really different here. She has a lot more color, a lot more pop to her. I've seen some of her concepts before, like I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen This one I know has surfaced the internet before. I've never seen this one before. This one actually looks pretty cool. I'll be fine with this. And then this one, I'm not too sure how I think about it. I'm not crazy about it. And then this is like a weird vehicle concept. It's like an anglerfish. This is another one that looked pretty dang interesting. And then there's some concepts here. This one I don't even know what's going on. It looks kind of crazy. And then this is more of what her final design is going to look like, and here's more of her final vehicle. And this vehicle here looks like absolutely awesome. I would have loved to see that, but I guess it ended up getting it. Stormblade was originally going to be like a couple different elements. Like you see here, she looks more like a life Skylander, and I think she was life and dark. I've never seen this before. I don't really know what's going on with this picture. Apparently it looks more like a male there. I'm not totally sure. Almost like a peacock. It looks pretty decent, I guess, but I'm not really sure. I like the design they went with, but here's her as a dark element too, and that base looks very different. It looks pretty dang cool if you ask me. And then here's the Sky Slicer, which of all of these, this one probably looks the coolest. These are all kind of weird looking. Not too sure how I feel about them. Now Spitfire, this is sort of like similar to what we got with the final design, just like a very different like art style looking. And then this almost looks like a female version of him. I'm not really sure. It does not look nearly as cool though. Like this looks like far cooler. This almost looks like a weird mix of him and Ingenie, which a regular Spitfire looks a lot cooler if you ask me. These concepts are absolutely awesome. None of these hot streaks are too crazy. They all look pretty similar to the final one that we got. And then here obviously is the final one that we got, with just some different customization in game. Then this is kind of cool. He has like some sort of golden design here, which would have been cool to see as a variant. I guess that's instant Spitfire. That looks a lot like instant Spitfire. Then here he is without his base. His torso looks really weirdly shaped. Now here's Smash Hit. Smash Hit's actually pretty interesting to look at. This is really not what he ended up looking like, and neither this vehicle's not really what his vehicle ended up looking like either. These are all more like destruction based vehicles if you look at these. Now going down, these, he was gonna be like a dinosaur. He was gonna be life element. There's a lot of different. I mean, I guess it's like a koala, and this is some sort of dinosaur. Pretty sure these two are female, and then this one's male. They all look pretty cool though. Like honestly, I don't think they went with a bad one for him, but I think if they went with one of the other ones, I wouldn't be that disappointed. And then here's gonna be the thumb truck. I mean, some of the early like weapons of mass destruction that they saw earlier, I think would have been cooler. And this kind of cool. At one point, I guess he had a tire down here. If you look at that. Now over here we have Splat and the Splatter Splasher. Splat I think was originally going to be Dark Element 2. She's another one that we've seen a lot of her concept arts. Like I think everyone's seen these couple or these at some point. This looks crazy. I don't even know what I'm looking at. This looks really sick, and so does this. But I like Splat's design, like how we got it, so I'm fine with it. And the Splatter Splasher does look pretty cool. A Super Shot Stealth Elf. I mean, this doesn't look like Stealth Elf at all, if you ask me. That looks really weird. I don't really like it. These are so out of there. Like, where's her hair? Where's her, like, everything? It looks so strange. I'm more looking at the vehicle ones on this one. These vehicle concepts actually look pretty dang cool. I like the helicopter that she got though a lot. I think it's really cool. These, yeah, I'm so glad we didn't get this. I think this design looks a lot better, as much as I even don't like her. And right here we got her vehicle, obviously. Now next up, Sharkshooter Terrafin. He looks definitely a little bit different here. This is kind of weird. He's like riding a missile of some sort. Not totally sure. This weapon actually looks really cool. I think that would have been cool to see. A lot of this, like, elements of this seem to have been put into his vehicle instead. And then here's some concepts for his vehicle, which look very different. There's a lot of treads going on here. And this is kind of a cool design up here. And so is this. And so are these, actually. Like, he almost has, like, a missile launcher there. He has, like, a hammer here. He's still, like, a brawler. So that's kind of cool to see. And then, obviously, oh, this design looks really cool. I think that cannon looks a lot cooler. It might have been too mature looking for a kid's game, though. Not totally sure. I know that's been an issue in the past. And now here, there are some more different weapon designs that look kind of crazy. Sorry if you heard my dog right there. And then here's more of the final shark tank. And then here is the Rped. This looks kind of crazy. If you guys know Beedrill from Pokemon, this definitely gives me Beedrill vibes. This, I don't even know what to say about it. Like, he didn't even have 4 arms in some of these pictures. He just barely looks like a bug. These look very weird. This one looks so disproportionate. I'm not really sure what I think about it. Then the Buzzwing designs are pretty interesting looking overall. This is definitely more of what we got with the final design, and I think this one does look pretty cool. Okay, now we are going to jump over to Swap Force. Now first up here is Blast Zone, and this art looks really cool for Blast Zone. I don't know if you got, if it's just me or like you guys will all see this, but I think this looks really cool. These designs are much more out there. I'm not totally sure how I feel about them. This one's pretty cool looking. This one's pretty weird looking. I'm not really sure. I definitely like the final one that we got more. Here's a couple more. These are more just what we got with the final design. Now here's Boomjet. He had a lot of weird designs, and this isn't even like what his final design looks like. This looks way too like monstrous for me, and these look kind of weird and kind of basic to me. I think I like what we got. I believe he's some sort of monkey or like ape on his final figure, so I think it does look really cool. This is kind of weird with like a whole cell phone tower on his head. Don't really get the point of that. Doomstone looks crazy here, dude. Look at this. In this one, he's like a stone king cobra or something. This one, he's like Medusa hair, like he has like snakes and stuff. It's really cool. This one obviously is the one that stands out the most. Don't know what's going on with the question mark here, or if that's just part of him. And then this weapon looks pretty dang cool. He looks very like slithery here. I don't know. Apparently he was gonna be a snake at first. This looks so cursed. I don't think he looks good with legs at all. This looks kind of cool though. I like him with sort of the lance or sort of like spear sort of blade that they gave him here. I think it looks pretty cool, but I think his final design is probably the best out of all these, which is a good sign. It's good when I like the final design more than the concepts that they had for them. Now Free Ranger looks very different here. I mean, I'm kind of used to seeing him with legs, but this still looks different. I think the color scheme is just a little bit off. There's a lot more like yellow lightning. I guess this is why his like very early concept was going to be. This thing looks so out there. I don't really like it. He's like so different, and he's like boomerang. It's definitely not for me. And then look at here. These are some crazy facial expressions. This one looks really cool. It actually does look cool with an eye patch. I guess he never really ended up with that. Then here are some other designs for his figure, and then I love what they finally went with. Obviously, Free Ranger is my favorite swapper, so it's really cool to see his concepts, but I'm totally glad that they went with the final design because that is definitely my favorite. Now here's Freeze Blade. This guy looks so strange here. I don't know what sort of like, I don't even know what to call his weapon. It's like a shuriken on a string. He had so many weird designs with like one horn. I don't really know. This guy's final design is so much cooler than all of these, so I don't really know what they were thinking with half of these. This one don't look too bad, but stuff like this, it's like, why? This looks so much cooler. This is the Freeze Blade everyone knows and everyone loves. Firecracken looks pretty decent here. This is kind of weird looking. I don't even know what to call these weapons. They're like handheld flamethrower looking things. This looks very spooky. I'm not really sure what's going on there with firecracking. And then these are more of these same sort of weapons. I like the double-sided one that we went with, but I think some of these, it would have been cool if you had like dual wielded rather than having more of like a sentinel weapon. Now Grilla Drilla, this looks very weird. This almost looks like a dark Skylander, so I'm not really sure what's going on here. And these blades don't really look that accurate to what his final ones turned out like, and these are just more pretty similar concepts. Now looking down here is sort of designs for his turrets, and then this is more accurate to what we actually got, and then here's what we actually ended up with. Now looking at Hoot Loop, he was originally going to be some sort of a monkey with some sort of magic orb, which looks very interesting. This design is also not that accurate to what he ended up looking like. Neither is this one. Don't really know what's going on here. And then moving down, these look absolutely insane. I think I'm good off these, and I like the wand that they ended up going with, but something like this wouldn't have been too bad. This isn't too bad of a design, but I like what we finally got. I think it works well enough, and this final prototype looks definitely a little bit different than this. It's like flipped around, and base looks a little bit different, I think. Now Magna Charge, I've never seen any of these before. This one's obviously pretty similar to what we finally got, and then this one, he has legs and it looks really strange. This one, his minigun looks different. He looks far more like metal and far less like I guess he looks more like big and beefy and strong and less like a kids game character. And then this arm is sort of cool. It's like an arm out of like pure electricity and magnetism or something. These are some like upper head concepts, and this one looks pretty dang cool if you ask me. You got like a massive missile launcher. It looks pretty cool. Here's Night Shift. Whoa, these designs are crazy. I don't even know what's going on here. I'm assuming some of these probably look too spooky for a kid's game, so I like what they finally went with. I do like Night Shift's final design. And then, oh, this is weird. We get to see one swap, which is kind of cool. And then, yeah, for the most part, it didn't change that much after they picked the design, but these are kind of very out there. Not too sure how I think about those. Rubble Rouser. Whoa, this is completely different than what we got. The bottom's pretty similar, but the top, this does not look anything like it. Here he has 4 arms. Don't even know what's going on there. He more similar to the weapon, but still like a very different body type, very different sort of like features and everything. And then they didn't really even have anything similar until the final design. Like this is still he's not even a rock in these. It looks very different. His weapon's kind of cool though, but I like what we finally got, but I'm not too sure how I feel about this. Now looking at Rattles Shake, this looks insane. The fact that he like weaves through his base here looks really dang cool. This looks pretty dang cool too. Originally he was gonna have 2 blasters. He was gonna be very like Western and like a complete like skeleton. It looks very weird, but this looks kind of too mature and too spooky for a kid's game, so I'm not surprised they went with the final design. This looks crazy. This is like more colored in. This does not even resemble what Rattles Shake looks like. Also, this figure just does not seem that accurate. I'm not sure if that's just me or not, but this figure does not seem to look like what he actually looks like. This looks pretty cool though. This is more similar to the final design. Just having 2 smaller blasters does look pretty cool if you ask me. Now here's Stink Bomb. This guy's design's like very all over the place. This is definitely more based on a skunk. A lot of it's based on a skunk and smelling bad, but they didn't really go with a concept similar to this until probably later on. This one looks kind of cool. I like the red theming. This one just looks weird. I'm not a big fan of that. And then all of these are sort of more ninja inspired, and they all look kind of similar, but none of them look super similar. I like what we finally got with Stink Bomb. I think that he looks definitely good enough for me. Spire Eyes over here looks pretty cool, and this form doesn't look that similar to how he finally turned out, but I mean you can tell it's him. And then this is crazy. He's got all sorts of designs just all over the place. These look so wacky and weird. I'm happy with what we finally got. What we finally got seems like a perfect balance between wacky and weird and something that's still realistic for Skylanders. This looks pretty cool though. He definitely has more legs in this one, which looks a little bit ominous, but it's pretty cool. And then this one's weird. He has like his 4 robotic legs and like 2 human legs. I don't get the point of that. This just looks nothing like him. Never do anything like that. I think that looks very ugly. Okay, Trap Shadows is all over the place, the designs. This is more similar to what we got, like these 2. I don't even know what this is or what's it called. These are, I guess they're more like, this one looks like it's kind of like leopard or like jaguar inspired or something like that. This one looks pretty cool if you ask me. He's got like a knife in this one. I actually think that looks really cool. And then here we got Washbuckler, which, I mean, overall it doesn't look too different. So was he originally going to be magic? I think he was. Look at this. This is like the magic base, and he's got some sort of magic powers going on. Sort of almost like Hoot Loop. Looks pretty decent. This looks kind of cool with sort of this, I don't even know what to call it. It's kind of like just a stick that his tentacles are sort of wrapped around. I think that looks actually pretty cool. It would have been cool to see it on the figure, but I like what we finally got with Washbuckler. Now, Bumble Blast, moving on to cores. This one's pretty similar to what we finally got, just the colors are very washed out. This one looks kind of cool. If you like beat them with with some sort of club made out of honey, like that would be pretty funny to see. Now obviously I like close range counters more, so that would have been cool. This one's so weird. It's got 4 arms. They're just so uneven with these like sort of mummified tree looking arms, and then these ones carrying like these tiny little hatchets sort of. This looks crazy. Like, where's the weapon even at? And then I don't even know what this is. Why is it purple? Why does he look like a toxic sludge bath? I just don't even know. This one, I like the design we finally got for Bumble Blast. Now, Countdown is so crazy looking. Like, look at all of these different designs where he's just got so much going on. He looks too crazy, almost like a bomb version of Trigger Happy. So that he's kind of out there. But for the most part, I think I'm happy with what we finally got. I think it looks definitely better than some of these crazier designs here. Now, Dunebug, this one actually looks pretty cool. He had 4 swords. I definitely would have been down to see that. And then here, 4 arms, you can see again. And then here's sort of we got the final design. He didn't really change too much, nothing too drastic, just weapon changes. But I do like the one with the 4 swords. Now, Frino, he had completely different weapons here. I'm not totally sure what's going on. This one looks very different, almost like a concept for one Skylander and Superchargers, I know. This, I don't even know what's going on with this or this. I mean, this looks kind of similar, but I don't know. It looks very strange. This is definitely more similar to what we finally got. I think this is cool, very cool concept art. And then this is definitely sort of what we ended up with. Now, Grim Creeper, I'm expecting these designs to look pretty cool. They actually are looking pretty cool. I love his ghost scythe. I think it looks really cool with like the blue sort of energy flowing from it. And there's a lot of designs all over the place. This one looks really cool, actually. I actually like how this one looks. I would have been very happy to see this. There's almost like an eyeball on here. This almost looks like a bird's head, like a toucan beak, and there's like a part here. Like that actually looks really cool. I definitely would have been down to see that. I almost want to say I prefer this over the one that they went with, but I think it looks pretty dang cool. Pop Thorn originally, dude, he has like an anchor. Was he going to be like some sort of puffer fish that was like anchored to the ground? I'm not really sure, but this looks pretty decent. I mean, I could see why they scrapped it. I feel like it would make him feel really weird. Like, how are you gonna traverse if you're being held down and like bolted to the floor by this? I don't really know. This is definitely more accurate to what we got. Yeah, pretty decent. I mean, nothing too crazy to write home about here with him. Punk Shock was originally going to have a completely different color scheme. I'm not too familiar with her design and stuff because I don't really have her, but I mean, these are some pretty cool designs. These are very weird. This one almost looks like Fryrider. This one's got like a fishing pole. These are more similar to Punk Shock. Down here, this is pretty cool with like this sort of lightning water bow and arrow. I actually like. Ugh, these do not sit right with me. I don't like looking at these. These are very weird pictures. This looks pretty decent though. Her final form. And then this is like very early Riptide. I think he was originally going to be one of the like shapeshifters, but yeah, you can see him here. He's got his different parts, and there's all these different head designs, which I'm not totally sure which one ended up being Riptide, but eventually they went with something more similar to Riptide. You can see more pictures of him here, and then he eventually turned into this, it looks like, and then I believe, yes, more down here. He sort of still had this weird looking design, but they eventually got rid of the bubble around his head, and we got the Riptide that we all know and love, or at least the Riptide that we all know, because I know a lot of people don't even like him that much. This RollerBall looks very, like, a lot more similar to Bone Mesh RollerBall. I think RollerBall looks a lot cooler with like white skulls rather than black, so I actually can really appreciate how this one looks. There's a million concepts, so I'm not going to look at every single one of them. This one, it's almost like too much hair. I'm kind of glad they like braided it up or like put it in a ponytail or some sort. Here she has two. It's not that different. Yeah, I like her design overall, but I think the white skull on her head looks cooler. Scorp, this one looks cool. Almost like he shoots like sort of maybe like poison or something out of his hand. I think that looks really cool. This one with the sword also looks really cool. Doesn't really look like Scorp though. Looking up here, this one looks really cool. So does this one, and then eventually sort of evolved into the final form. Scorp has a really cool design though, so I'm not really complaining with him. I like the one that we ended up getting. Scratch looks much like bigger and bulkier here. I'm not sure if she was originally going to be a male or not, and without her mask she looks very different. Not totally sure how I think about that. Though with a few different color schemes, eventually gave her sort of golden mask, which I think looks a lot cooler. A lot of these just don't, they're not as nearly as fierce as her final design, which I can appreciate from her final design. Slobber Tooth here, I mean, nothing too crazy. These all look very similar to the final Slobber Tooth design, except for this one and this one where he has two heads. Okay, this one, a magic dragon with two heads, seems really weird, but I'd be down to see it. I don't even know if we have any Skylanders with two heads. And then this one is also more similar to the final design, but I think it looks pretty dang cool. I mean, he's got two like big spikes on each side that are just coming from different places, which is like pretty cool, honestly. He would have been far more unique and far more cool if he had two heads, so I'd be down to see that. Here's Smolder Dash. Pretty accurate to her final design. These look crazy though. There's a lot of weird designs here. This one's almost like sort of a magic one. This one's got like some sort of fire like spinning in a circle. I don't even know. This one's, I can't, there's not, these aren't super detailed images, but there's a lot going on in these. Not totally sure. This is definitely what we got with her final design, and these are more similar. She's holding like a head here. I don't know, they kind of like Green Goblin vibes, like she's gonna throw that like a bomb or something. And then this, I don't even know. And then these are all just sort of different fire head like models, I guess. I'm not totally sure, but I like what we finally got with her. Here's Starstrike. Starstrike's final design was supposed to have this sort of scroll thing that she never ended up getting. Here, I'm not totally sure, like Superchargers vibes, like spinning in a tornado or something. I'm not totally sure. This looks very different. I think this looks much cooler. She looks kind of like a spellpunk with her face, which I actually think it looks really cool with like the black with just the glowing eyes. And these are all pretty similar to her final design. She didn't really change that much. Windup was apparently going to be green and gold, which I'm not too opposed to, but it definitely looks weird looking at it now. And all these designs are really weird. It almost looks like he was going to be like a gumball machine or something. I don't really know. I like the design they finally went with though. Here's more of these sort of, it definitely looks like a Skylander. I would have been down to see it, but I think Windup's much cooler, much more straightforward, and much more easy to have a bunch of fun with. Now here's Zulu. Zulu looks a lot cooler like this. I think his weapon here looks a lot cooler, and his color scheme overall. I think he almost has too much like white and green. I think adding more like brown and stuff definitely helps to mix it up, so I kind of like that more. This looks far too big and bulky for me. I think this looks pretty cool. I like this weapon, and sort of the clothing looks a little bit different. I think I like it just a little bit better overall. And then, okay, that's going to be it for it. Maybe if you guys want to see friends and foes, which is going to be a lot of sort of enemies and NPCs, then we'll do that in the next video. But thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. So, so long, guys.